Broadcasting live from the WGBB World Headquarters here in New York. This is the Big Fat Joey Show with your host, Big Fat Joey.
Hey, Sin. Morning, Big Fat Joey. Big Fat Joey Show. Biggest thing on radio. What's up?
Can you believe it's Sunday? It's Sunday already.
I know. You know, quick. The weekends are going by, and even quicker, the holidays are coming up. I think, Thanksgiving is another week and a half, right? What's that? 5, 4, 9, 10, 11, something like that. 11, 12 days from now.
I'm ready to push forward this year. We're ready for a new year with better things.
Yeah, 2020, as we've all been saying, can't go away quick enough. But you know what? Got a lot of things done around the house. I know a lot of people I've interviewed have gotten a lot of things done around the house. And, you know, some people reinvented themselves. Others have, taken up the tasks and gotten things done. But, you know, enough is enough. We need to try to get back to our normal lives. And hopefully with, the new horizon will be some new, better things.
I'm super ready, but I'm super excited about today.
Who do we have on today, Sin?
Dr. Killeen from Dr. 90210. We're going to chat all things Botox, fillers. What does everyone want to look like? I'm excited.
Everyone wants to look like me. Cue's a button.
That's true. But just what are the trends in plastic surgeries and what does everyone want to look like? What celebrities? So I'm super excited.
I know. Don't worry, everybody. Sooner or later, you're going to be seeing a lot of big fat Joeys wilding in the street.
Possibly.
Yeah,
But bigger isn't better because we were talking about, not everyone wants those big chests anymore. So it was very fun and interesting. So, and she does an amazing job on the show and makes women and all her patients look beautiful.
Yeah, no, Dr. Killeen, she was super duper nice. It was great having her on. You know, I give any doctor, I'm not a needle and blood type of person, so I give them all kudos for what they do. And especially for, superficial reasons, a lot of the doctors' work is really a yeoman's task. And they're out there helping a lot of people get, their self-esteem back and get them to where they want to be.
Well, she does an amazing job, and she was just super sweet. So I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
No, super duper sweet. We also have on today another great indie artist. We have Igor Keller from the band Longboat. They're out from the West Coast. Igor's got a great new song out right now, Safe at Home, all about helping us cope with this stay-at-home lockdown that we're in. Yes, that's the word, lockdown, the stay-at-home lockdown. So his song is very therapeutic and helping us cope with ourselves, in this lockdown stage. So he'll be coming up next after the doctor, and we'll be hearing his new song. Also, tomorrow night, Sin, right? Isn't it the finale of Dr. 90210?
Yep, I'm ready. My station, my TV, everything's set. I'm ready.
It is on the E channel at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So mark your calendars, set your DVRs, check out the season finale. All right, everyone. Without any further ado, is mine and Sin's interview with Dr. Killeen from Dr. 90210. All right, everyone. On the line with us today is Dr. Killeen from Dr. 90210. Doctor, welcome to the Big Fat Joey Show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being on. We're here with Sin.
Hi, Dr. Killeen. I'm so excited because the Dr. 90210 is filled with girl power.
It sure is. It's a fun show. I'm so glad you like it.
I love the show because you're making everyone feel and look beautiful.
Well, thank you.
I want to know, how did you get involved with this show?
That's a very good question because obviously I am not an actress or a TV personality of any sort before this. I am a surgeon and I've been in practice for nearly 10 years since I finished my training. If you are around the Beverly Hills area, there are always shows in production. I have been contacted probably 20 times for a variety of shows since I've been here in the 90210 zip code. and nothing ever comes from most of them. So, I'll do an interview and then I never hear anything again. So this was kind of the same situation. I did an interview and there was already a pilot shot for the show. And I saw the original pilot and they were replacing one of the doctors on it. And I did an interview and heard nothing for years. And then about 2 years later, I got a call and they said, hey, we're revisiting the show. Are you still interested? And I said, sure. And then 2 months later, I got a call with a bunch of people screaming, saying, oh my God, we got picked up for a full season. So it was very unexpected. And I guess everything in the industry is a lot of hurry up and wait. You do the interview, there's lots of excitement and you talk to a variety of people and then there's nothing. It's crickets for months and months and months and months.
And do you love having the film crew follow you? How does that affect with the patients in the room? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit stressful. So I have a very busy full-time practice. So I've had to kind of integrate this second full-time job into my life. And the main thing is the crew is huge. I'm not sure what I was expecting when we started filming, but there's minimum 15 people here on filming days. And all of the patients we use are chosen, consented. They know exactly, what's going on. And I don't want to freak out or scare my other patients or my partner's patients. So we've been very careful to, schedule things in a way where we are away from my regular patient population. And it's actually been a lot of fun. I mean, a surgeon, we're performers. We're used to kind of being the center of attention in the operating room. So it hasn't been as stressful as you would think. I'm used to having lots of people watching me do things that are stressful.
Right.
So, Doc, you mentioned the patients are chosen. Are these the people we see on TV? Are they your patients they've been patients for years, or are these casted patients that are really getting the surgery that they put a casting notice out for?
So in my situation, it was a mix. So the woman that I did the breast reconstruction, Katie, she was my patient. She was already having surgery with me. And it was important for me to feature that type of surgery on the show. So I helped them find an appropriate patient. But the rest of the patients actually came through casting. So the way it works is the casting agency kind of does the initial look of everyone that applies, and then they send it over to the doctors, and then we meet with the patients and we decide whether this is someone that we have options for, and give them the thumbs up or thumbs down. And then the final say is really with the network, and they look at the people the doctors gave the thumbs up, and they decide who they think is going to make for an engaging, fun show that highlights what they want to highlight.
So the patients that you're doing surgery on, obviously for the excitement of the show, I assume the producers, obviously in conjunction with yourself, look for patients who have, I guess for lack of a better phrase, looking for some crazy surgery or something wacky or something different.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, we understand. I mean, this has been hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm not a TV person. The whole point of a TV show is it has to be fun and interesting. Nobody wants to watch something that is boring that they've seen 100 times. Right. So the goal for casting the patients was to find fun, interesting people with unique problems or problems that spoke to a lot of people, because we want to be engaging. It's a television show. It's there for entertainment and to have fun. It's supposed to be lighthearted.
Well, you know what? Definitely, because just like the radio show I do, people aren't going to listen if it's just blah 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 blah.
Of course,
they don't want to hear they don't want to hear Charlie Brown. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear something interesting.
Yes. Well, I want to know, because of the whole social media aspect of how people perceive each other with these Snapchat filters. Do you have people coming in saying I want to look like my filter?
Yeah, we have that a lot, and it's actually more of a problem in the facial plastic surgery world that my partner, Kat Chang, operates in than for me. But I mean, absolutely. I think one of the biggest problems with social media, and it's funny how it evolves. When I was a kid, I remember our parents kind of beating their head against the wall about how these magazines airbrush photos and give young girls unrealistic expectations. Now it's just magnified to this world of filters and Facetune where people can very quickly in a 30-second process alter their appearance so significantly in a way that looks so real. The expectations for what bodies should look like are just absurd. And one of the problems is that not only do people come in with a Facetune picture saying, I want to look like this picture I made of me, they also think that celebrities look the way they look. And so on their Instagram. And so they'll bring a picture of somebody from 10 years ago and then a picture of them now, and they'll say, I want you to do whatever surgery that person did. When in actuality, all they did was Photoshop the hell out of their face. And it's complicated conversations.
Well, I want to know, like, when do you say, like, no? Because I feel like Madonna wouldn't be Madonna without her, like, tooth with the little space. And Barbara Streisand wouldn't be Barbara without her nose. Like, when do you say no? Like, you look great. Like, we could do something else or alter some other way. How do you feel about that? And how do you deal with your patients?
I say no a lot. And I think, ultimately the goal of plastic surgery is not to morph normal people into something different. The goal of plastic surgery is to alter things that are kind of on the border of abnormal and bring them into the normal range. And so when we're doing things to people when they're normal and making them look strange, that's a problem. And so, I kind of, my mantra with this is that the energy and the feelings are real and they deserve to be validated with these people, but I try to redirect the energy. So the energy when they come in may be focused on a rhinoplasty, and that's just not what they need. Or they want, somebody's crazy, like a lip lift on a 20-year-old, or, buccal fat removal on a very thin woman that's not going to age well. I try to redirect that energy into some other type of more healthy self-improvement. And I think it's a better option. And do I lose patients? I'm sure. It's LA. You wave a credit card around, you're going to find someone to take it.
Right.
But I try to tell people that, your goal in life should always be to surround yourself with people who are honest and tell you the truth, that don't always just tell you yes. And, you have to have a heart to heart with yourself and sit down and say, hey, I wanted this. My heart is broken because I thought this surgery was the right thing, but maybe this doctor is onto something and I should focus this energy elsewhere.
No, that's great. I think that's great. Like, what are the trends now? Like, what are people, besides the Snapchat filter, like, are people saying, like, I want breasts like so-and-so, or I want, like, a butt like so-and-so? Like, what are the trends?
Sure. So I would say in my practice, one of the biggest trends are natural small breast augmentations. I think that the age of the big stupid boobs that are, the size of six bowling balls, it's over. We don't do that anymore. People don't want that. And I think that's great because it's a safer surgery with less problems and they last better long term. And I think that's awesome. So I think that's a positive trend. On the negative trend side, I think a lot of these just absurd Brazilian butt lifts are pretty toxic. Unfortunately, we are creating bodies that don't really exist in nature.
Right.
Taking a very, very thin woman with scrawny legs and giving her an enormous disproportionate butt, you're not creating something that exists in nature. And I think that is really not something we should be focusing on in plastic surgery.
No, I agree with that. Like, what celebrities are people saying, like, I want breasts like so-and-so, or I want lips like so-and-so? Like, who are the celebrities that are they, like, bringing in pictures in and saying, like, this is what I want to look like?
Yeah, I think probably the most common celebrity that these days that I see is Bella Hadid for breasts. People want Bella Hadid's breasts. That's probably the most common one in my practice. I occasionally, Miley Cyrus for whatever reason, that's a common breast picture. So just kind of small proportionate breasts that are shaped nice, which is, I think is a really positive trend.
And perky. It sounds like very perky. And I love that mommy makeover you just did on the last show. She looked beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That patient's so fun.
Yeah, she felt beautiful too. She's like, my husband's looking at me this way, and it's so real. Like that's what's great about the show is it's very real, and you get the patients of like how they're feeling afterwards. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, people are funny. They always think the plastic surgeons are the interesting part, but I swear the patients are the most interesting part of my job. It's the most fun thing. I mean, who knows somebody who's had quintuplets? I mean, I get this opportunity to meet such interesting people, and then everything about Roxana is fascinating. You know, she's military. She's a pediatric ER nurse. She takes care of those kids basically by herself with no help. I mean, she's incredible. I probably interviewed her more than I would a normal patient because I just want to know about her life so much. It's so fascinating.
No, she looked gorgeous. You did a great job, and you were very sweet with her. So, no, I definitely love it.
Now, Doc,
thank you.
Since the pandemic, have you seen anything? You know, I'm guessing, you know, everyone's putting on the pandemic pounds. You know, are you seeing more maybe liposuction requests because people they're cooped up in their houses, gyms are closed, and foods are plentiful?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. That is one of the most common things is that people, you know, gain the COVID, you know, 19 as the joke is, and they want to get rid of it. And so we have a lot of people calling because they want surgery help. And that's just, you know, surgery is not meant for weight loss. Surgery, liposuction is for sculpting. So, you know, those are often difficult saying no to the patient conversations. But we're seeing a lot of people who are staring at themselves all day, every day on Zoom, which was not something we were all doing a year ago. And so we're seeing a lot more people with all kinds of facial concerns and interest from the younger population with Botox and fillers and peels and things to improve the appearance of their face because they're staring at themselves on Zoom all day. It's kind of an interesting transition.
Now, if you weren't a doctor, what would you be?
If I wasn't a doctor, I would love to sing on Broadway. Okay. I am such a performer, and I was a vocalist when I was younger, and I sang in a variety of choirs, and I just love performing. I think there's nothing more fun than live theater and live music performance. It's just so incredible to be part of it when you're singing with a group or performing with a group. I would have loved to do that.
Well, I don't know if Sin's question just usurped my next question, but what's one thing no one knows about you?
One thing that no one knows about me. Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. I mean, I've fessed up with a bunch of the weird stuff about me already on my show. I'm not sure I know anything that no one knows about that I haven't said yet. I mean, some of the interesting things are that I was a choir girl. I was in a sorority, which I know I don't really seem the type, in college, which was a lot of fun. I'm a car girl. You saw a little bit of that on television. I'm a lover of cars. I grew up in a family that appreciates a beautiful automobile.
And what's your favorite car or car you'd like to get or something of that nature?
I just got a new car right now, so my everyday driver is an Audi R8.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I like a nice supercar. It's a good everyday driver version of a supercar.
Definitely is. I'm a car guy. I have a couple of older muscle cars, a Grand National, that's from the late 80s, and, you know, Corvette here and there. And
amazing.
So, you know, it's always fun. Cars are always fun, but that is definitely something that, you know, I bet people wouldn't pick about you.
Yeah. Something different, something fun.
Well, I want to know, if we don't go like the plastic surgery route, like what's your beauty tip to say, like, let's keep your skin looking fresh, or one product that you're like, you know what, everyone should use this because it'll keep your skin looking like really fresh and clean.
I think the most important skincare product that every person in the world should be using is sunblock. I think that UV damage, I know that UV damage is really the primary force of aging of skin, and that is the difference of what makes you look old and young. When I see people in their 50s with beautiful skin, they look so much younger, and what I see a lot in California is people that abused the sun when they were young and look 10 years older than they are because their skin is so damaged. So sunblock, and I know it feels weird to put sunblock on every day, but everybody should be in the habit of that. I think that is the simplest, easiest thing we all can do. And then the second thing would be a retinol. Retinols are one of these ingredients in pretty much every skincare line has a retinol, and it's because they work. They've been around for decades. The research is strong. They improve your skin quality. So everyone should be on a retinol as well.
Okay, that's good to know.
Definitely something good to know. But speaking of something good to know, Sin would like to play a little game with you. She has her game, This or That.
Let's do it, Dr. Killeen. You're going to have fun.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, let's do it. Ready? The first one is In-N-Out Burger or Bob's Big Boy?
In and out,
Of
hands down.
course, of course. Ice cream or froyo?
Ice cream. I eat a lot of froyo, but if I could choose, it's ice cream.
Ice cream. Chanel or Scrubs?
Oh, Scrubs.
Yeah. So
I'm a jeans and t-shirt Scrubs girl. You have to force me to dress up.
How about cover of Vogue or cover of Vanity Fair?
Oh, Vanity Fair. Give me Annie Leibovitz, please.
How about Wonder Woman or Batgirl?
Wonder Woman.
And how about Dr. McDreamy or Dr. Oz?
Oh, Dr. McDreamy. Oz can jump off a cliff with all of the weird pseudoscience. Give me a real surgeon any day.
And how about what's your tagline for the year 2020?
Oh my God, that's a good one. My 2020 is, it's definitely not the same. It is a different day.
All right. Thank you for playing. You're so fun. Well, we got to know you a little better on that, I think.
Perfect. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Now, Doc, since, there's a lot of shows and we've had a handful of people on from the different reality shows on California. Do you ever run into the other players out there that are on, on Bravo, like maybe like Selling LA or Shaw's or Sunset? You ever run into the other people?
Yeah, we do occasionally. I mean, my block in Beverly Hills has one of the kind of most famous nail salons where people get photographed at a lot by the paparazzi right across the street from my office. And so you'll see a lot of people from Real Housewives over there, just the typical Bravo cast of all of these shows somehow ends up in my area. And then right down the street is Villa Blanca, one of the Vanderpump restaurants.
Okay.
Like we have a pretty big Bravo presence around here. You'll see them milling about town.
Now, if you weren't on this show, would love to do like a crossover on like either a Bravo show or another show on E? Is there anything that you would like or try to check out?
Yeah, I mean, I am a sucker for reality TV. I love reality TV, so I would certainly love to do another show. If this show ends, hopefully we'll get a couple more seasons under our belt. I would love to do something else. I love real interactions. I'm not afraid of complicated relationships with other castmates, but I definitely don't want something that's going to kind of sully our reputation in plastic surgery. I think women in particular have a difficult time, as there's not a lot of us in this field, and the last thing we need is to have a negative reputation.
Mm-hmm. I'll have another one. Who is your celebrity crush?
And you can't say it, a big fat Joey.
Oh, okay, fine. I think my celebrity crush, I probably, if I had to pick somebody who's similar in age than me, I would say Jennifer Garner. Okay. I love her. I think that not only has she aged beautifully and gracefully, and she has the sweetest, most lovely personality, but she's so darn interesting and fun to watch on social media. And if I had to pick somebody who was older than me, my celebrity crush, it would be Dolly Parton. I mean, that woman is just a national treasure. I mean, there is nothing wrong about her. I mean, she is hilarious. She is self-deprecating in all of the right ways. She's caring and loving. She has a beautiful charity she's built. She's been married to the same man for decades. I mean, she's just a gem. I love Dolly. She's awesome.
Oh, I know you don't hear that often
Right
either,
now.
right? Ever.
She's incredible.
That's awesome.
Now, Dr. Killeen, any news on a new season?
We have not heard anything yet. It's kind of a weird year because there's not a lot of promotion of the show, and so we're not involved in a lot of the normal activities. So we don't really hear a whole lot. So all we can do is ask all of our fans that love the show to please let E know how much you love the show, and hopefully we'll hear about another season soon.
Yes, we have to. Because
Definitely,
I love
definitely.
the show. And like I said, I love that it's all women, and you're making all these like mommy makeovers, or someone with like something going on, like the other woman the other day. Even your colleague she had like a third breast that they removed.
Yeah,
I mean that is just like this poor woman lived with that for so long.
Absolutely, and I think the way to have more diversity, the way to get young girls to think that everything is a possibility is to show them that everything's a possibility. And the way to have more diversity in how different professional careers are represented on TV is to have different careers represented by a more diverse cast. So I hope people support us and are interested in the lives of female plastic surgeons, and we've loved sharing it with everybody.
Well, I love that it's an all-woman cast. It's just amazing.
Yeah, we were excited too. I'm so glad that you guys love it.
I love it. I love it. It's just amazing. But just the way you make people feel, and then others can watch the show and say like, "Oh, I have that too," and it can be corrected. So you put it out there, and like you're like, "It's okay. We're gonna work this out, and you're gonna look beautiful," and they all do.
Yeah, it's been so fun responding to Instagram comments. You know, I have people from all over the world that have been contacting me about, oh my God, I have this problem and I didn't realize there was a solution for it. Or, oh my God, I had this surgery and they didn't give me the options that you gave your patient. Like, what can I do to help make women aware that there's more options out there? It's been such a positive experience for me. I've been so grateful to be part of it.
And I also think, as you mentioned before, having more diversity in your business as well as anyone's business, because obviously, I'll quote from Seinfeld: "You have more experience with the equipment when you're working on female patients than a male doctor would."
Absolutely. And I think, this is why diversity is important in every field, every specialty, every career. I think the more diverse the world of plastic surgery is, the more perspectives that we are able to give and the better care for patients we can develop. I think that women are a very high percentage of plastic surgery patients, about 95%.
Wow.
And we're a very low percentage of the plastic surgeons. And it doesn't matter how amazing empathetic you are, you get a different perspective when you hear things from a woman. And I think that all we can do is elevate the field by including more women, and we can also elevate the field by including more people of color. We have a big problem in surgery with having very few people of color in our specialty, and so we need to just diversify. It's better for everyone.
It definitely is, and surgery, regular, medicine, general doctor, or like I said, radio, TV, film, politicians, construction workers. I think, everything needs to be opened up to everyone, because the world is so diverse. The United States is so diverse, population 330 some odd million people. But I think your show, especially with the all-women cast, it is showing other women, other young women, that you can do this. There's nothing holding you back.
Absolutely, and I love getting messages from young women saying, "Hey, I didn't realize this was a thing." I'm very lucky. I grew up in a family with a lot of powerful female role models. My mom's a surgeon, and that was rare for her age group. So I always knew it was a possibility because I saw it every single day in my house. And I want every single girl out there that has even a tiny interest in medicine to know that it's not only is it possible, but you can have a great life. You can be a mom. You can set limits with your career and be a wonderful mom and physician. And I want everybody that's interested to have the opportunity to do it and to know it's possible.
So now, Doctor, how can my audience find, follow, and keep up with you and the show?
That is a great question, and I would love for your audience to follow me on social media. I am on Instagram as KLKILLEEN, Killeen, and my website is drkilleen.com. I love messages. I do my best to respond to all of them. I really think this, like I said, it's the most fun part of my job is all the people I get to meet. So send me a message. Tell me what you think. Let me know if you have suggestions for next season, what you want to see, and I would love to hear from you.
All right. And the show is on 10 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights.
On the
Exactly.
E channel.
On the E channel. All right, Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thank you for being on the Big Fat Joey Show. I wish you nothing but luck, success, health, and to a quick end to 2020 and a great new year.
Yes.
Thank you. You too. Your lips to God's ears.
Yes.
All right, Doc. We'll speak soon. Be well and have a great day. Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
How sweet is she? And she's doing an amazing job on all her patients.
Super sweet. Does awesome work. I guess you can use the word awesome in the medical field. At least, I can from my 10th grade health class. It was great having the doctor on. Super sweet. Answering all our questions and giving us a sneak peek behind the scalpel of exactly what goes on in cosmetic surgery. Well, everyone, make sure tomorrow night, season finale, Dr. 90210 on the E channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, everyone, up next is my interview with Igor Keller, also known as Longboat. All right, everyone, let's welcome to the line musician Igor Keller from the band Longboat. Igor, welcome to the Big Fat Joey Show. How are you?
Thank you, Big Fat Joey. It's wonderful to be on.
Well, it's wonderful to have you on. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Sun is shining and birds are happy where I am, and I hope they're the same around your place too.
Yes, sun is shining. Birds are chirping. Actually, sun's coming out a little more. It was a little overcast before just from the humidity, but here on Long Island, it's sunning up pretty well. What, you're up in the northwest, correct?
Great Pacific Northwest. Yes, the tall trees and the sharp blackberry vines.
Yes, the blackberry vines will put a tear in you, but they are tasty.
Mm-hmm.
So, Igor, you're a man who, and this is going to come down later, we're going to be speaking about this, but you are a prolific writer. You've got some 23 albums you've written, and are finishing up the last 2 or 3 of them since 2011. In 9 years, there are people who in their careers don't write 23 albums, but you've written 23 in 11 years. How have you been able to do that?
Well, the plan was originally, the first album that I wrote was about Seattle, about Seattle itself, its neighborhoods, its suburbs. And it was such a great experience. I thought, I want to do this once a year. So then for the next couple of years, I just put out 1 album a year. And after about 3 years, I realized that wasn't enough. And I would have to start putting out more albums. And actually, it was an economic consideration in that I could only afford to make a certain amount of albums. And now I've gotten so efficient at making them that I can record. Last year I recorded 4 albums, and then this year I've recorded 6.
Wow!
And most of them, 5 of those 10 have been electronic blues albums. And with electronic music, as long as you have it organized, you know what you want. Those albums don't take very long to record at all. And I'm not a do-it-yourself musician. I do work with an engineer, and I do hire real musicians for non-electronic albums. I go both sides there with all electronic, all live musicians, and then sometimes a blend of both.
Well, you're keeping a lot of people busy.
Yeah. Yes. The recording studios, I make them happy because it's kind of not a very well-known fact that this, even pre-coronavirus, that recording studios were closing down because people were doing their own engineering. And of course, you can sort of, it's one of those things with a practice ear, you can tell what a poorly engineered and poorly edited song sounds like. And when those make it to the radio and make it to number 1, you're kind of scratching your head and wondering how that ever could happen. But it's basically what people get used to. If people get used to bad engineering, then that's what they'll come to expect.
Right. I mean, 30, 40 years ago, to be a musician or a singer, you really needed to know how to sing. You really need to know how to play an instrument. I mean, I'm no singer by any stretch of the imagination, but in the right studio with enough money behind me, I could be the next big pop artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. With enough auto-tune and sauce on your voice, you could sound like Pavarotti.
Exactly. So, besides all the writing you've done, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into music, who you are, what's prompted you to, be such a prolific writer of music and, doing it day after day, year after year.
Well, it's one of those things where you just kind of grow up, and instead of thinking about throwing rocks at frogs, when you're a kid, or any of that other stuff, you think about music. You've got little tunes in your head, and that's after a while you want to get them out. You want to start writing them. And in my case, it's a little bit of an extreme case, because whenever I sit down at an instrument, and I don't even know how to play it that well. If I sat down at like a hurdy-gurdy or a zither or something like that, I would start picking tunes out of it once I figured out the rudiments of playing this instrument. And because of that, I'm not that great at playing any instrument outside of saxophone, which I played for years in bands of various sizes, and had every single crummy gig there was that the city of Seattle had to offer. And, it really built character. But the jazz scene kind of went away in Seattle a couple of years back. And so I had to figure out what to do. And a lot of the jazz guys that I played with became rock musicians. And it was a very seamless transition. And in fact, one of them plays with Katy Perry's road band now.
Oh, wow.
And, he's done very well for himself.
I can imagine. Right? Yeah, Katy Perry. She's up there on the tops of the tops in the music world.
Yeah, she absolutely is. And he's played on a couple of my albums, and but now he's a bit too famous for that. So and I would have to like fly him in. And so now there's a guy down the street who's awesome, and I hire him.
Yeah, you call that guy down the road. You get him an Uber and a cup of coffee. He's good to go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like to pay my session guys really well, and because they'll actually look forward to the session, and they'll actually they'll look at my notes and look at the music that I sent them, and so what you think you will take a day and a half to get done will take a day, 3/4 of the day. Because they're into it,
right? It's that old adage: you get what you pay for. So
they love the payday at the end of it too.
Right, they know you're doing right by them, so they're going to do extra right by you because they're professionals. They'll always get the job done, but they'll definitely put the extra extra effort into it. So
yeah, I never ask anybody for favors. They're all. I try to compensate them as well as I possibly can.
Now, the latest song that you sent me, "Safe at Home," it's a catchy tune, and I know it was originally intended for people to listen to try to get them out of that rat race modality in their head, and the coronavirus did what your song was attempting to do, is to get everyone to slow down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was supposed to be a much more temporary thing. You stay home a couple of nights, a couple of days with those that you love and those you care about, and you kind of right your relationship ship, I guess, with those around you, and it took on a different meaning as the lockdown continued, and it's sort of spending time at home and treasure the main thrust of the song is about spending time at home and appreciating the people you're around. And I'm really happy that it has additional relevance, because when I was writing it a year ago, in like last August, and I had no idea that this coronavirus was going to happen, and we would all be staying at home and sort of uncertain about the future. That was just it kind of was a chance thing.
I'm guessing, since you write, like I said, we're coming up on 23 albums in the past 9 years. I'm guessing you took this forced lockdown as an opportunity to write more than you probably have ever written before. Actually,
quite the opposite.
I knew it. I knew it.
I needed a little break after 6 albums. I needed a little break, and I haven't written anything. I'm planning a couple of albums, but see, I have out of those 23 albums, I will have 4 albums to release next year. So I'm planning just 2 albums, and it's going to, of course, sound completely different than anything else I've done before. And I'm going to hire musicians I've worked with before, and hopefully it's going to be, the most awesome thing I've done yet. But I kind of feel that way about every album that comes out. I'm a guy who likes my music. You hear about some musicians who are like, oh, I can't stand to hear myself sing that. I don't like my playing. I don't like this song. I don't like any songs on this album, but I wrote them all. I'm not like that at all. I really like what I've done. And and as uncool as it might sound, I do enjoy listening to my music. And my wife enjoys listening to my music with me too. So that's really nice. And it's another reason why I married her.
Well, that's always good. It definitely helps if the wife enjoys your music, if that's your livelihood.
Yes.
And
but we're kind of, speaking of the lockdown, she works as a librarian, but she is working from home now. And so we're together about 23 and a half hours every day. And, I actually, according to Safe at Home, I really kind of actually treasure that time, even though it's in, there's so much of it. We're together so much of the time, but it's still really nice to be with her.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good time to catch up and get things done, and reacquainting yourself with your family. And I just saw a meme the other day online, and someone wrote, I've been married for 17 years. I finally actually know who my wife is now. Because now they're home together. Yeah. Now, what do you have coming up for us? You mentioned that you've been writing. You got some things coming up. What are the latest albums that we can look forward to?
Okay, well, I actually sort of started the releases in January of this year with an electronic blues album called "Woke Up This Morning" Variations. And the reason why it's called that is because there's the whole cliche about blues songs. They all begin with either "Woke Up This Morning" or "My Mama Done Told Me." And so I wanted to kind of update the blues as best I could, and I had so much fun making that album that I recorded 4 more electronic blues albums. Now, the Safe at Home is from an album that's out now called "The Wow and the Pal Volume 1." And there will be another video coming up called "All That Woo" about alternative medicine and how it's mostly bogus, and how mostly it's about separating you from your money. And it's going to be great. They're going to be dancing brains and things like that. I've been encouraging my animator to be as crazy as possible on that. But in a couple of weeks, there will be a new album coming out called Basically Blue Volume 1. And that is also going to be a blues album, but it's alt blues. It's blues tunes that don't sound like blues, but they have all the sort of blues markers in them. That may sound kind of wonky, but once you listen to it, it'll make sense to you. And that is, also all electronic, and it's got some very nice tunes in it. And I'm having about 4 videos made from that album. Wow. And they'll be out in September and October.
So now, all of these albums that are coming out, like I said, we're coming up on 23 of them. Do you have a magic number in your head saying, you know what, at the end of the day, I need, when it's all said and done, I want to have 50 or 100 albums out there. Do you have a number in your head, or are you just going to do it till you just don't do it?
Well, the emphasis is always on quality, but the number that I really want to get to is 50. So that's a bit down the line some.
Yeah, that's like March of next year.
With
that's like March of next year.
With a little hard work. Yeah. But hard work, dedication. If I eat all my vegetables, I might get to it. But it's if it just was down to a numbers game, it's sort of like, oh yeah, here, I'll put that song there, I'll put that song there. Who cares about that? If it was just that, it wouldn't be nearly as fun, and it wouldn't be as much of a challenge. And I just as long as I feel like I'm still doing really good work, I'm super. I would love to do 50 albums. And I mean, you kind of, it's like the Beatles did 13 studio albums, and
Right.
David Bowie did 26, and the Rolling Stones, a lot.
Right.
they have a lot of albums out, but yeah, I'd like to get to 50, it does encourage you to explore, and it encourages you to find new ways of expressing music, and also new areas of subject matter. Because I don't really, even though Safe at Home is about love and togetherness, I usually don't write love songs because I don't have any insight into love at all, and so
Make sure your wife doesn't hear that.
I like to tell stories. Yeah, well, listen, I did not woo her. I've only been married for 2 years. And I did not woo her with my own music. I didn't sit on her doorstep with strumming my guitar and say, "Ooh, baby, I'm going to love you forever. I swear it. I will climb the highest mountain. I will swim to the bottom of the deepest ocean." No, I don't do that. I met her because and we got married because she was the right person for me, and I was the right person for her.
Instead of the mountains, you just say, "Listen, we'll just take the elevator to the top of the Space Needle. That's a lot easier."
Yeah, yeah, but yeah. So that's kind of where I am.
Well, that's great. I mean, like I said, 23 albums in the past 9 years is a monumental task, and I tip my hat to you because, like you said,
well, thanks.
You want to do it, and the song I heard, "Safe at Home," it's very catchy, and you can tell there's quality and there's a meaning behind it. Yes, and that's the one good thing. The vast 99.9%. I don't think I've ever had anyone. Everyone just really writes for the love of it. No one's doing it to say, "Oh well, I can make money doing this. I'd rather really be XYZ, but someone's paying me to write this stuff, so I'll sing it." So I don't have any of that, and that's what keeps people going, because you don't sound like the type of person who could do it that way. If you're not loving it, you're not enjoying it, you're like, you know what, I gotta go do something else now.
Oh man, I love it so much. I'm doing as much as I can. I'm doing it as much as I can afford to, and that's I just am a big fan of recording, and I'm good at it too because I'm really organized.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
And in the rest of my life, I'm not so organized.
Well, my wife comes into my studio here. You should see how my show notes look. She's like, "How do you even know who you're talking to?" I said, "Don't worry about it. It's all there's a method to my madness. I have notes on paper. I have notes on paper towels, on napkins, on the back, literally on the backs of matchbook covers. I'm the old cliche. I just write on whatever in front of me. I write whatever I have in my head to write, and I go."
Yep, I do that. I write on my hand. I have just like the beginning letters of every of whatever word I need to remember, and that works. And also, I'm a guy who writes on slips of paper. And since I've got my first iPhone, I do the notes. The notes are really nice.
Yeah,
because they keep everything at least in one place.
Yeah, I've never gotten to the notes. You know what I actually do? When I have something like say you'll tell me something and I don't have a pen or a paper on me, I'll text my wife, and she's like, and I'll just put, "Don't worry about it." So she knows when she sees oddball texts that don't make sense, she knows that's just me texting something I need to pull back up later on to remember or do something with, or if I call a store and do something, they give me an order and they say, "Oh, your confirmation," and I just text it to her, and she just knows, all right, he bought something. Yeah, he needs it for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's another way of doing it.
Yeah, I never got to the notes because just never got. It's just easier for me to, and I'll write on my hand here and there, but otherwise I just text to myself. This is the same as a note. Now, obviously, you're doing this a lot of it, all of it on your own. So now, how can my audience help support you by following, and keeping up with everything Igor Keller and Longboat?
Okay, well, I'm glad you asked that. Well, I don't actually have a website, but I do. There is a Facebook Longboat page. You just do a search for that. There's a Facebook, a Longboat Instagram page, and but most importantly is there is a Longboat podcast in which every week I take a Longboat tune and dissect it for your delectation, telling you how it's written, what my ideas were, what worked, what didn't. And right now, if I stop recording and I just leave it all behind,
right.
If I put this podcast out every week, I have enough material to go on for 6 years. And I just started it in March. That was actually something that happened during the lockdown. I decided that was my big initiative, was to start that podcast. And that you can get that on YouTube. It's called the Great Longboat Podcast. It's also available on iTunes and all Spotify and all other platforms. And you can also stream all of Longboat's albums that have been released. There are 18 so far, and there'll be 19 at the end of this month, and then the 4 to be released are going to be next year. But that is longboat.bandcamp.com.
Well, that sounds great. Igor Keller of Longboat, thank you for being on the Big Fat Joey Show. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you nothing but luck and success.
Thank you so much, Big Fat Joey. Have a great day.
You too. We'll speak soon, buddy. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Fascinating interview, Sin.
So amazing and so comforting, the song.
Definitely. You know what? It's very apropos, especially with what's going on. Everyone at home, everyone on lockdown, everyone, trying to get through this thing. This interview with Igor was done a little earlier in the fall, end of summer. And, unfortunately, it looks like, once again, things are taking a turn for the worst, for lack of a better phrase. Not as bad as it was in the spring, but, there seems to be some lockdowns going on, possibly. And it's New Jersey, New York. Everyone's got to be more cautious. So, everyone, remember, mask yourself up, wash your hands, social distance, holiday time. I think, right, we're just staying by ourselves, right? No one's coming over. Everyone's, all the family members, everyone's just staying.
We're zooming it.
We're zooming and zoom. So everyone's staying away from one another. But I'll have more information on that on next week's show on exactly how the holiday plans are shaping up. All right, everyone. The clock on the wall is going tick tock, tick tock. It's that time again.
It's another Sunday.
And on our way out, we're going to be listening to Igor Keller's new hit song, Safe at Home. But before we do that, this is Big Fat Joey. Big Fat Joey Show. Biggest thing on radio here with Sin, reminding everyone to make every sandwich count. Peace.
Something drove us, something made us want to flee from the jolt of everyday reality. I wouldn't call it an exclusive club. You probably would, so I guess there's the rub. All semantics set aside. Well, here's something that we haven't often tried. Publicly, we're always trying to engage a tawdry habit of this dark and stupid age. Unimportant information fills our brains, and impulse is the only thing that holds the reins. I propose none of the above, just to be safe at home with those we love. 1 quiet night, so glad you could attend. 2 quiet nights, now that seems more like a trend. 3 quiet nights, insanity's restored. 4 quiet nights, we're getting kind of bored. These are things that you shouldn't force, 'cause they have to happen on their own, of course. The world will be out there with its bumps and grinds, trying its best to make us lose our minds. Like leaves we're being tossed from here to there. The noise is oppressive, though we're hardly aware. You can go and face all that stuff, but first let's be safe at home with those we love. Let's take a moment on our own and spend some time all alone. Let's take a moment on our own and bury both our telephones. No bruises, no excuses, just a change in tone. A single day might be enough. Safe at home with all the people that we love. A single hour might be enough. Safe at home with all the people that we love.